Today, let's learn the wisdom of life from the 5 ways to age beautifully according to Venerable Beopjeong Sunim and attain enlightenment. The first is to smile often, even if you have to force it. If you observe the elderly sitting in the reserved seats on the subway, you'll notice that almost all of them have frowns on their faces. This is why many people associate the image of elderly people with a stern and rigid expression. They say that smiling brings good fortune. Smiling frequently is an important factor that determines the happiness in our lives. It is said that a person's life can be seen on their face. The concept of physiognomy is also derived from the impression a person gives off. In fact, researchers have found that just by looking at a stranger's face, you can often tell if they have lived a happy or unhappy life. If you've had a hard life without much time to smile, you might find yourself frowning without realizing it. If you reflect on this, you'll realize that your mind is reflected on your face. There are people who overcome despair without showing it. Do they have some secret remedy to overcome despair? They probably also faced hardships in private, but in front of family and others, they showed a smiling face. If they had despaired at every challenging moment, they wouldn't have been able to live in the present, nor would they have anything to smile about. There is a saying that those who know how to play well can enjoy their work, and those who smile often have more reasons to smile. No matter how tough life was when you were young, it's time to let go and find some peace. You should practice shedding your gloom and working on becoming happy. Cultivate the habit of thinking positively. It is said that the emotions you carry affect those close to you. Your happiness can make the people you love happy, and that happiness is contagious. This is how we create a world worth living in. Encourage those around you to smile often and live with a smile. The more you smile, the more you become someone who smiles. Smiling brings good fortune. As you age, simply smiling often is the best thing you can do. The second is to stop quarreling and arguing. It is unattractive to be full of complaints as you age. Those who were filled with complaints when they were young usually continue to be so when they are old because it has become a habit. Changing a habit that has already formed requires a bold resolution. Without determination, nothing can be changed. In youth, with vigorous energy, you might argue that you are always right and nitpick over everything, but as you age, you should be able to contemplate life. This is because you've experienced life to a certain extent. It is not wise to demand respect simply because you're an elder. If others perceive you as dignified, respect will come naturally without you having to demand it. You will live with the respect fitting of an elder. What does it mean to grow old? It means being able to understand people, situations, and the world. Once you understand, there's no need to argue. Therefore, wherever you go, you should have a broad mind and accept things generously. It's best not to complain or grumble. Successful people are usually confident. However, when strong self-confidence combines with success, people often stop listening to others. Yet, when you meet someone truly enlightened, they mostly just listen. It's partly because they believe they still have much to learn, but also because they know their advice might not be heeded, so they choose to remain silent. Humans have an instinctive aversion to any kind of interference. Even when someone asks for advice, they may feel uncomfortable when their faults are pointed out in detail. No matter how good the advice is, it only has value if the person receiving it is ready for it. In countless counseling sessions, I've found that simply listening and offering encouragement often brings better results. Even if you give truly helpful advice, if it is uncomfortable or delivered poorly, no matter what efforts you made in the past, it can instantly change how you're perceived. Therefore, it is very important to be cautious when advising others, especially if you will continue to see them and need to maintain a good relationship. The saying goes that if something goes well, it's because of one's own ability, and if it doesn't, it's because of others. Although one may deny it, being criticized repeatedly can lead to negative feelings. No matter how good the advice, if the other person doesn't accept it, it's meaningless. Likewise, no matter how wise your words, if the other person doesn't take them in, they have no value. I hope you live a life that understands and contemplates others. They say there is an elderly person who lives to 100, always loudly speaking and leading the way. This elderly person follows one rule. First, treat others. Second, treat others. And third, treat others. You should have the generosity to treat others to a drink or a meal and not just expect to be treated. There's a joke that says, keep your mouth shut and open your wallet. This essentially means it's better not to quibble or argue. The third is to refrain from actions and words that lack dignity. Maintaining dignity is not a difficult task. Just as jaywalking is not an old person's privilege, we should refrain from what should be avoided. You might have seen elderly people crossing the street in unsafe places. What do you think when you see that? It's likely that you have experienced a moment where you frown at the sight. It's also important to avoid being noisy in public spaces. Only those who know how to respect others can expect to be respected. It's better to eat in a tidy manner. If you eat hurriedly and noisily, it's unseemly. Acting without manners, like talking with food in your mouth and spraying saliva while speaking, diminishes a person's dignity. After drinking, it's important to avoid rambling on and losing your composure, as maintaining dignity is about preserving your comportment. Not all elderly people are the same. It's good to stay up to date with the trends of the times and have a willingness to learn. As you age, it's also important to care about your appearance and dress neatly. This doesn't mean adorning yourself with flashy jewelry, but rather maintaining a proper posture and mindset. If these habits naturally manifest as you age, all the better. The fourth is to be filled with love. There is a saying, in the evening of our lives, we will be judged by how much we have loved others. I really like this phrase and often recite it. When we reach the end of our lives, that is, in our old age, the important question becomes how much we have loved others. Looking back, success, power, and how much we have accumulated don't matter much. No matter how much someone has experienced success or held prestigious positions, when they grow old, it all becomes just a memory. What is referred to as the good old days is ultimately just time that has passed. It's nothing special. As the saying goes, we come with nothing and we leave with nothing. Many older people, when facing death, commonly say that life is vanity. Everything is trivial in the end. They regret having lived with so much greed because they missed out on the truly important things. People tend to think that the current suffering they face is the most significant, but most challenges are like that. No more, no less. There are many people in the world who are suffering more than we are. This has always been the case and will continue to be. When you grow old, you realize that there's not much to it. That's why we shouldn't be caught up in old memories, posing as something we are not. Instead, we should become people full of love. Live your life looking at others with love, helping others, loving your work, and filling your life with love. The fifth is to live fully in the present. We must enjoy today. There is a saying, beautiful youth is a natural occurrence, but a beautiful old age is a work of art. It's a truly wonderful saying. Beautiful and attractive youth is a natural phenomenon. However, a beautiful and attractive old age is an art that we must consciously create. How attractively we cultivate ourselves determines whether we can create ourselves into a charming work of art. Yesterday is history, and tomorrow is a mystery in life. If today is a gift, the past is just history. And the future, which hasn't arrived yet, is unknowable. We should not waste our lives worrying about time that has already passed, or about a future that may or may not come. The fact that we are alive today is a miracle. Today is a miracle. Being able to welcome the day after living more than 50 years is a gift in itself, because it is based on 50 years of life. Find happiness in your daily life. If you look around a little, you will see many beautiful things. When we are young, we seek happiness in bigger dreams and greater aspirations. However, we can also find happiness in being satisfied with what we have and adjusting to it. These days, we talk about small but certain happiness. We should be able to appreciate this kind of happiness. There is a passage I love and would like to share with you. Life may be nothing more than a dream, but even so, it is good to be alive. The sharp, cold air of dawn, the sweet breeze before flowers bloom, the scent of the setting sun at dusk. There wasn't a single day that wasn't dazzling. How wonderful it would be to conclude your life with such words. I believe that in old age, we must find happiness in the everyday. Lastly, I will share with you the 10 commandments for a mature life so that you can actively enjoy a beautiful old age.